Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. What's going on, guys? This could be the most stressful week of Shorty's life. I'll go into the draft later, and the SuperCoach league. Some of my Shorty leagues, I'm sitting ninth. I've basically got elimination finals to get into the actual final eight. It's crazy how it's turned out. I'll jump into that in a sec, but yeah, I need to get all your positive energy to get Shorty over the line in draft. I finished top of the ladder. And like I said the other week, went down to Langers by 30 points to make it into the grand final. So now I've got elimination final against Watson. So send me your positive vibes, guys. I need it. Selection didn't quite go my way. I really wanted Nick Nat or Grundy to come back into the team. They are again 1 week away. But yeah, I'm going to need you guys. I'm going to be following my shorty leagues closely, my draft intensely closely. Oh, it's a stressful time for old Shorty. So let's take a look at the teams. So actually, if you haven't checked out subscriber goal kicking video, that's up one video before this. So me and a few of the lads went down, went for a couple of kicks, some good goals were slotted, some tight finishes were had. So if you want to check out that, feel free. But let's dive into the teams. And Georgie Hewett's out. We'll jump the gun on that one because there's nothing too relevant from that. Dustin Martin's still not coming back. Still going down as one of Shorty's worst trades of all time. Plenty of movement for the Lions. Coleman is out, which will hurt one of my draft teams, not the elimination final one, but plenty back. Keep Zorko on your watch list just in case you need a real bargain basement, premium. I'll put it in the old quotation marks because, yeah, he's not an out and out jet. He's been up and down with injury and positional changes throughout the year, but he'll be around 350k, one would imagine, in a fortnight. Pretty handy option at that sort of a price, even for a D7 or something like that. Um, no, Aaron Hall, again, one that Shorty was holding on for dear life to come back in the team for me draft. It didn't. Anyway, nothing really going on there. Clayton Oliver's back. You love to see Jordan Sweet's out. Thank you very much. Piss off, Jordan. Let Timmy English just do his thing. Let him do his thing. And there's George Hewett out with what is reported to be a sore back, a bit of back soreness. Just get the foam roller out, George. You'll be right, mate. Nothing worse than a sore back. I mean, what is that? Is that a 1 week injury, 2 week injury? I'll dive into what I'm doing in a second. Old mate Paddy Dow comes back in the team. Apparently, the Cats are interested in him as well. So, old Paddy, he's burnt me many a time. Tom Green managed again in my draft team. I'll tell you what, it's a tough time. But Kelly also out. Should open an opportunity in the midfield a bit more so for Taranto. Flynn, disastrous performance last week, and Bruce comes into the side. D'Ambrosio is back. Extended bench, I think. But you'd imagine it's more of a fitness thing for him because he's looked really good, so you'd think he'd come straight in. And, Ryder goes out, and we know that brings Marshall in a fair bit of relevance. So he's someone I'm going to talk about. I took a few notes from the live session the other night. So I just will reflect on those right now just to talk about them in a sec. So remind me if I don't talk about Cripps, Short, and Marshall, the three takeaways that I had. Obviously, George Hewett burst straight into the frame with his injury. Now, let's jump into my side here. I'll basically talk about how I'm approaching George Hewett. Look, at this point in time, it's all about your trade situation and your trade management. And it also gets to a stage where it's like, well, what the fuck are we holding on to trades for? Why should I hold trades? This is the reason we hold them, isn't it? You got two trades left in my case. And I was in the gym before and the teams came out and I thought, no, I'll hold him. I'll hold him because I want to trade D'Ambrosio down and upgrade Ware. But then I looked at my leagues as well. I thought, I need to get a couple of W's here. So it does depend on a few things. What your trade situation is like. Will you have a full team of premiums if you do trade in? Will that trade stop you from getting a full team of premiums for the last month? Um, and then again, another reason is what are you aiming for? If you're aiming for leagues and you've got one or two leagues in particular that you really want to win, and you're doing fine in those, you could probably afford to hold him, because he should be back soon. It's really hard for me to predict how long he'll be out for with a sore back, but it's not something set in stone like a 2 to 3 week hamstring. Sore back could easily be a 4 day injury. It could keep him out for a couple of weeks. I don't know. But if you're sitting well in your league, you can probably hold. If you're in the top 1,000 and you want to get your best ever finish and you really can't afford to slip behind the pack, then you might want to trade him. What I'm going to do is trade him. Now, I'm going to have a look at a few options. And look, the options are pretty obvious, really. I mean, if you can afford the likes of Sinclair, Dawson, Sicily, they have been unbelievable options. So I'm not telling you anything you don't know there. Dale at 550 isn't too far off. He's been fantastic. Doherty right next to him, just a K above. Um, Houston's been rock solid. He slipped in price a little bit because he had a poor score maybe a couple of weeks back. Look, Alex Witherden, only if you were super desperate. He's not even a lock for the best 22. I probably shouldn't even mention him. And look, Ridley's bounced back to a bit of solid form, but he'll barely go over 110. He's just a really safe option for about 80 to 100. I am going to go Doherty. Now, I'll tell you why. So, of all those scenarios that I sort of mentioned, I want to bring Doherty in because he'll only set me back $1,000 to get him. That'll leave me with 52 with one trade. And then you've got Jacob Ware at 306. Now, he will probably hit his break even. He'll be around 300 to 310 at the end of next week, but he'll drop that average score. I'm just hoping for if I can visualize it for you. I'm just hoping for, I'll take 50 this week. I'd take a 50 from old Jacob. I'm pretty sure his name, if he was dropped, I think he's extended bench. But let's just pretend he gets named and whatever. Let's say he's around that mark. He stays a similar price. Well, he drops this 36, and then I can see him going up to anywhere from 320 to 330. And then I can then see Dane Zorko, like I said before, ending up. He's 390 now. That 6 is just going to see him drop massively twice over the next two price drops. 350, very, very achievable. So I basically think that Ware will upgrade to Zorko, and that'll give me Stewart will come back. It'll give me Zorko or Ridley on the bench. So that was the main reason as to why I'm going Doherty. But I just assessed my situation and thought, I think I've got to trade him. At the end of the day, we hold trades to help us in the end of the season. So my initial fear was, no, hold. But I kind of thought, well, what are you holding for, mate? Like, just trade because you need to right now. You might just get lucky for the last month. You might not cop an injury at all for the last month. Just roll the dice. I should have bench cover with Zorko anyway. And as you guys know, I've got a bit of cover here. I've got Dustin Martin on the bench and, Taranto on the field. So I've got a bit of, dual position action there. So that's the way I'm approaching it. I think your replacements for Hewett, if you're trading him, are super obvious. We all know the gun premiums to go for. But what I would say is just assess how your team's looking. What do you want to get out of the year? Do you want to finish as high as you possibly can? Do you want to just win a specific league? It just depends how you're traveling. So that is the main point. I'll dive into some of those other names, Cripps, Marshall, Short, give a few thoughts on those. So yeah, much of the discussion on the live sesh was about Paddy Cripps. Obviously, we've got bigger fish to fry here with Hewett, but my thoughts were to hold Cripps. But it does, again, depend on your trade situation. Pitnet comes back in the team. It means Cripps probably isn't going to have to ruck every now and then. I don't think that's been a major contributor to his scoring. Some people might say otherwise, but I just think he's been a little bit off. For whatever reason, I don't know. His numbers have been okay without being great. So he's a bit of a mystery, old Paddy. His early season form was sensational. Then he copped that injury, came back, went bang, 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 went amazing. And now he's just full. Maybe it's the Pitnet effect. Maybe I'm totally wrong there. But I think Pitnet coming back in and Hewett going out, in theory, can only help Cripps score. But yeah, look at this. He had that injury, then he just went straight back into it. 130, 140, 150. And then since then, it's just dropped off. And look, 95, 98, 92. It's not disasters, but we need more from him. And he was tagged out of it last week against the Cats by Blitzarb. So again, it's all down to your trade situation. Can you afford to sideways trade? I tend to not want to trade premiums for other premiums. Some are out of form, some are in form. if you've got a couple of trades left, I'd rather you hold them for a time when we do. George Hewett or someone in round 21 is out and we didn't even think they were going to be. You just never quite know when you need a trade. So sideways trading premiums who are a touch out of form, I'm not a massive fan of. But if you've got trades and you feel comfortable with it, by all means, I'll be holding Paddy. And I think some of those team selection things can only help his scoring. I mean, Rowan Marshall is definitely a great option now that Ryder is out for, I believe, the rest of the year, which is obviously no good for Paddy. But we saw, we saw some massive scores from old Rowan late last year when he was the sole ruck. So if we just have a look at his year this year, how many matches has Ryder missed? He missed a few at the start of the year, hasn't missed too many recently. So look, I would say it's not a great example this year. I don't reckon Marshall's been quite the same player, but I know late last year, Ryder was playing much of the year and then didn't play the last few, and then we saw Marshall really turn it on. Not sure why that did that, but let's just. So what was it? Ryder was out the last four. Yeah, we saw him go 158, 123, 73, and 120 without Ryder, which is pretty massive. And they didn't have either of them. Oh, Ryder came in round 7. We'll do round 4, 5, 6, round 6, 7. I remember he didn't look too good this game. I think he may have even only played half of it because he missed round 5. But nonetheless, his numbers without Ryder in a fully fit game, really impressive. What was his game time in that round 4 game? 61%. So he didn't play the full game. So I think it's fair to say Marshall's scoring ability as a sole ruckman is super impressive. He's a forward ruck. He's 460k. Strongly worth a consider. You might even be able to pick him up in a really sneaky fashion in your draft team. As for Jaden Short, look, he's starting to play a little bit of not half forward flank, but starting on the flank and pushing up. It's got me beat as to the position he's playing and why. I'm so confused. I don't understand it. But that seems to be the position the Tigers are playing him. I've stuck with him for a long time and I will continue to stick with him because I have other things to do. But if you want to trade him, I understand. The difference between Cripps and Short, Cripps isn't changing his role. He just might marginally help out less in the ruck, where Short's role has definitely changed since round 1, and Daniel Rioli may have affected that as well. So there's been a bit of a change there, and it's been mediocre, scoring 80s, 90s, and he turned up just last week. So it's a long way from all those effective kicks down back and that move through the midfield. Not sure why it's changed, but it has. So I'd be comfortable if you did trade him out. Definitely understand the thinking there. Last 5 minutes, I just want to dive into these leagues, and I'll talk about just quickly my captain option, how I'm sort of looking at it. Probably, look, Laird was fantastic for us the other day. I think Miller is also a great option. Oliver against the Dogs. Who have our ruckmen got? I think McInerney's back to take on Witts. And yeah, Darcy won't have it easy against the Tigers. Probably, what do we got? I probably just need something safe and reliable. Wasn't Bontempelli sensational the other week? Just sensational. Look, I'd say, Neil, he also loves a Q clash. It's hard to go past him. I'd be looking at maybe a Laird or a Miller, they play at the same time, Oliver and Miller. So maybe it's Laird, maybe it's, Sean Darcy if you think you can just towel up Nankervis. But I think I'll just be going safe down the line with my captaincy options. But let me know if you've got any thoughts on how you're going with the skipper. Now, this league I've struggled badly. It is the number 3 ranked league, and I'm sitting 17th on the ladder and 15th on total points. So bloody tough league. But in some of the others, Braggers, the only cash league I'm in, very happy about that. Hoping to lock onto a top 4 spot. In zero pressure, I'm ninth, taking on the 14th team, and I've got myself a little bit of a chance here. So I need physically abused um, to lose, and even if it's Cobden's home losers, I could overtake him in percentage. Um, and they do have, I think one of them had a relatively tough opponent. Yeah, physically abused places second team, so that's definitely a chance for me to jump in there. Cobden plays 17th Jimbo, so I'm a chance to sneak in there. Big chance, got to get the dub. Bit of luck's got to go my way. Then I'm 8th in this one. Oh, I don't even care about that one. That one's irrelevant. um, Again, I'm 9th in this one, playing Crano's Supercoach, and guess who's 8th? Guess who's sitting in 8th? Oh, it's Crano. G'day, mate. We got ourselves an early elimination final here, baby. Because you're on 32, I'm on 32. We got ourselves a little elimination final. And then again, Shorty's 9th. And would you look at this? We got ourselves another elimination final. Warpedo, if I beat him, bang, I go straight in because I should hold Tom at bay because this one goes on total points instead of percentage. So should be right if I can beat Warpedo. And then I'm in there with 6th, so that's great. Even this one, real saucy option. Tommy Superstars, I'm taking him on. I'm sitting 10th, just with a smidgen of luck. With a smidgen of luck, because I have both of 7th and 8th on total points. I've got them both. So, and it's really tight between me and the Burgie here. So, I'll tell you what, if I can get the dub here, if I have a good week this week, I could slide into a lot of top 8s in Shorty Supercoach, which would really be quite exciting. And then again, 9th, I'm playing the 18th ranked team. And what's the situation here? It was pretty tight as well. I've got I Know Nothing and Vern's Lads. And look how crazy this turns out. I need one of them to lose, don't I? So what would the best scenario be? For them to play each other. We'll have a look at that. Have a look at that. They're playing each other. So one of them's going to lose, and as long as I knock off the 18 team, Shorty is going to be playing finals footy. So I need a bit to go right, and if I wasn't sure about trading Hewett in, that definitely made my decision very clear because I've got a big week of Supercoach. I've got elimination finals a week before finals, so it's a big week ahead. Send me your love for Supercoach draft. I'd really appreciate that. I'm going to wrap it up, get this one uploaded before 8 o'clock. But yeah, it's business time in Supercoach. So I hope you're traveling well. If you've got any questions, flick them over. I'll try and get to them throughout Friday. Yeah, have a good week, guys. I'll catch you soon.